and welcome. Hello and welcome to Chapter 3, Professional Ethics. This chapter is the last chapter in this class, and there is a reason for it. Although it's the third chapter, I have always believed that you cannot appreciate the need and the importance of ethics in this profession unless you know what is at stake. And that's the reason why we do this chapter last. We like to define ethics in our own terms because it is basically the difference between right and wrong. Okay. Always do right, this will gratify some and astonish the rest. That was what Mark Twain said. So what is the right thing to do? Sometimes, these are questions requiring reflective choices. The difference between right and wrong can be subjective. Okay. And an ethical problem exists when you must make that choice among alternative actions, and the right choice is not absolutely clear. Okay. An ethical problem situation may be described as one in which the choice of alternative actions affects the well-being of other persons. What you do matters because so many lives are at stake. People invest in the market all the time. They will trust you for the job that you have done in certifying these financials, and that's why you doing the right thing is important. Many times professions have a strict code of conduct that helps you or tries to make it easy for you to differentiate between right and wrong. So a code makes explicit some of the criteria for conduct unique to the profession. The importance of independence, Rule 101. You need to be independent, and some of you multiple choice questions in this: independence of mind and independence in appearance. Okay, very important. What do you mean by independence in appearance? You may be independent in your mind, but if it is so obvious that you cannot be counted, you cannot be seen as being independent in appearance, then you're not independent. A state of mind that permits the CPA to perform and attest service without being affected by any influence that might compromise professional judgment, thereby allowing the individual to act with integrity. Basically, you should not have a conflict of interest, okay? And if there is a conflict of interest, you should excuse yourself. Does that mean that if you own 15 shares of Motorola, you're going to do something wrong? Not necessarily. Something material, okay? And if you are in an influential position, if you're a grunt just doing copy work and you're new to the audit profession, that may not matter as much. But if you are the auditing partner and making important decisions, what would matter? Okay. So independence in appearance requires avoidance of circumstances that might cause a reasonable third party to conclude that you are not independent. Okay. You may think that doing an audit of your brother's business, you're independent. Well, I'm independent in mind. I don't care if he's my brother. I'm going to do the right thing. That's good. But your opinion may not carry much weight because a third party may think that you have a conflict of interest. Okay? And so the rule of the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct, the first one itself is independence. And then, as you can see, various standards that you need to abide by. Okay? So here is a summary of 101 interpretations. What can a member of an AICPA do, and what can a member not do or should not do? You cannot have a direct financial interest in a client. A material indirect interest. You cannot be on the board. You cannot have a joint investment with a partner. You cannot have a loan to or from a client. You cannot participate on a test engagement if they were formally employed by the client in a position to influence the audit. Okay. And what can your immediate family not be able to do? These are the things. Have a key position, have a material financial interest in a client, have a financial interest in a client that allows the relative to have significant influence in a client. That does not mean that your brother owns 20 shares of Nike, you cannot audit Nike. Material is the key. Their influential member is what the criteria is. Okay, so a partner or a professional employee cannot be associated with the client as a director, officer, employee, promoter, underwriter, or any other influential positions that you know can have consequences. So independence is important. Are you independent? When are you not independent? Let's say you're not independent, or there is a threat to independence. You don't know if they are independent. Does Code of Professional Conduct directly address whatever threat there is to independence? If yes, follow the code. If no, is it reasonable to expect that the threat would compromise your judgment? If no, independence is not impaired. Are there safeguards that mitigate the threat? Independence is not impaired. If no safeguards, independence is impaired. Okay, so you may say, a judgment would compromise professional judgment if I am auditing my brother's firm. You may think your independence is not impaired, but you have a clear code of conduct for families. So in that case, you will follow the code of conduct. Okay, so independence is what chapter 3, ethics is the most important part, doing the right thing. Again, this is a small chapter, but as you read the chapter, you will see why it makes more sense to discuss this at the end after we have understood the auditing profession in its entirety, not just chapters 1 and 2. That's at least my take on the situation, which is the reason why I discussed this chapter last. Thank you.